Traditionally, I like to put out these episodes at the beginning of each year that talk about how to win in the next year. And it's based on a lot of different experiences and things that I've realized over the year, or maybe some of the incredible guests that I've had conversations with, and some insights and all the books that I've read and all the conversations that I've had with several of you people out there. And I just like to kick the years off and give everybody some good tips. And so today we're going to talk about these topics: life advice, fitness and nutrition, business and money, and how to do some goal setting at the end of this. So let's get into this. First of all, let's talk about life advice. I think that's a important part that many people really struggle with. And 2024 was an election year. There was a lot of turmoil. There was a lot of arguing and bickering and all kinds of things online. And we're past all that kind of stuff now. We've seen what the results are, and it's just time to do things different. Time to, think of this next year, 2025, as a clean slate, if you will. So, first of all, I think this is the most important thing. And I see a lot of people holding themselves back and struggling with this topic. It's forgiving yourself, right? Every single one of you, including me, has done things in the past or had things that we regretted doing, or maybe you've built some kind of a reputation, good or bad or indifferent, and you hold on to these things that don't really serve you. So I want you to understand this really simple phrase, and you've probably heard this before, but I really want you to listen to this. Your past does not define your future. So whatever has happened in your past, you need to forgive yourself. And this is a great time to do it. It's the beginning of the year. And if things are holding you back and feeling like an anchor, or things that are bad decisions, guys, we all learn from these things. Any bad decisions and things that we regret doing, those were all lessons. They were all valuable lessons. We may not have liked the outcome, but that doesn't change our future. So what can we do? Forgive yourself. Really think about that one and apply it this time. Don't just nod your head and say, that's a great idea. I want you to really work on that. It's not going to be easy. It may take hours, it may take days, it may take weeks, but you need to be very, I guess, just persistent with this thought. And eventually that pain, just like any of the other pain that you've faced or adversity in your life, is diminished and gone away. It will go away and you will begin to forgive yourself. Next, what I'd say is, if you can forgive yourself, you need to also learn how to forgive others. I think this is a tough one. A lot of times people carry these big grudges with them. And here's the ironic thing about carrying grudges: a lot of the people that you actually carry grudges for don't even think about you. They don't even think about you. You're not even a part of their lives. Could be something years ago, but you're walking around with this burden of a grudge, carrying it literally over your shoulders and letting it affect your mental clarity and the actions that you take and the fears that you still have. And you have to learn how to forgive other people. I'm not saying to forget, because a lot of people have done you wrong. A lot of people have done me wrong in my life. And it's not necessarily that you have to forget that, because again, those are valuable lessons, sometimes costly. But if you forgive them and realize that, hey, maybe I just reframe this and start thinking about, that person just showed me who they truly were, and I accept that. Because I think a lot of times we have these assumptions or uh, preconceived notions on who we think people are, and then they show us who they truly are, and we have this doubt, and we're kind of blown away. We can't understand what happened, and then we kind of create this grudge, and we want to keep that division, and that's fine to keep the division. But the thing is you're carrying around this grudge that's weighing you down, that's slowing you down, that's hurting your. It's taking a fraction of your mental capacity that doesn't deserve. So you have to learn to forgive those people. Just think about that they just showed you who they truly were, and then move on. I mean, everybody's got a true person of who they truly are, and accept that. You don't have to love the person. You don't have to call and apologize the person. Just let it go. Just kind of move on. These people are not thinking about you. You should not be wasting a second thinking about them. And finally, like, while we're on the topic of these negative people and the toxic people, assess these people. There's people even on your social media, people that you listen to, people that you've read books, or you're watching their videos on YouTube, or family members and things like that. Now, if we could just really tune in for a moment to be like finally in tune with our focus and our energy, right? If we are animals, just like any other animals out there in wildlife, and we are built with certain tools that we can't even explain on how we can sense energy and understand if a person is a potential threat or there's an agenda or just something just feels off. And a lot of times we will push away our better judgment because we want to be the optimist and we want to see the better in people and see the potential in others. I get all that. That's how I operate. But sometimes your gut feel is telling you something for a reason. It's there for a kind of a defense mechanism. It's the fight or flight or the survival and this energy levels. I mean, the best way I always explain this is that have you ever been at a social setting at somebody's house and they have like the family dog and the dog's real friendly and there's a lot of people at the party or the gathering or the dinner and dogs being socials wagging his tail just going up and getting petted on the head by all these different people. Then something weird happens sometimes where somebody will come in the front door like on the other side of the house and the dog will just start growling. And this may be a person that the dog has never seen before, doesn't know the dog, obviously never been abused by that person, but the dog senses something is off with that person. And it may be smell, it may be reasons that kind of trigger that, right? But they have that sense of energy and they understand like that's a threat. Like I need to be in protective mode. I need to protect myself. Well, we have that. We just numbed it down because we always try to see the better and be less objective or less subjective about things. And so start listening to those things. There's people in your life. And here's the best way I know of to assess energy of people. Okay. If somebody's calling your phone, let's say somebody's calling your phone, they happen to have your number and you see their name on don't you guys call me right now and interrupt my podcast. Right. But if you see their name on the screen, what is your initial reaction? What do you feel when you see that name? Do you say, "Man, I can't wait to talk to this person. Well, it's good to catch up, and I'm looking forward to have this conversation." Or do you go, "Oh, what now? What do they want now? Oh man, here we go." That initial reaction is based on observations and things that they've made you feel. It's compounded over the years or the months that you've known them, and you've kind of got this energy gauge about every single person that you interact with. And so start paying attention to those people, the people that suck your energy away, that kind of make you not want to answer the phone or reply quick to that text. You got to start creating some distance. You got to create some boundaries from those people. And I know that's depending on the relationship that I'm, hitting you with right now, it may be difficult. It may be the most difficult thing you've ever done, but it is essential, right? These are life tips I'm giving you. You have to create distance. If these people are maybe inviting you out, stop going out with them. Hey, I got something to do. Thanks for asking. Don't ask for that rain check because that kind of keeps the door open. Just say, I've already got something I've got set up for this evening, but appreciate the invite. And just like anyone else, if you ask somebody to do things enough times and they quit responding, you'll quit asking, and so will they. They'll quit asking, and that's a good thing. That's kind of the nice way of just kind of letting things go and not having to deal with that anymore. So for 2025, I want you to be really careful about assessing your energy and how you feel and how to react to these people and creating that distance, creating that boundary. And you can do it respectfully. You don't have to hurt any feelings, but you need to do it. It's important for you. It's good for your mental health as well, right? And so let's also talk about inputs, like assessing your inputs. I see several of you watching this podcast live, and that's an input. You're scrolling on your social media, that's an input. Television shows that you're watching, that's an input. Radio, Spotify, audiobooks, podcast, anything that's a source of input that you're getting information, you need to start to assess those the same way I was talking about those people. And you need to just go, hey, is this thing giving me energy? Do I feel excited to do this? Or do I feel like, oh man, I feel worse than when I got on here? Think about that. Certain platforms have different cultures and different energy vibes. And I get that some of you may be addicted to the drama and the bickering and back and forth because otherwise, like shows like Real Housewives wouldn't even exist. Like they're just yelling at each other and they're drunk the whole show. It's annoying. Certain platforms are very negative too, depending on who you follow. And so this year, especially this week, this first week of the year, really do a fine job. Next time you're browsing your social media, you're looking through the shows that you're watching or the things that you're subscribed to, take a quick snapshot and go, "Hey, how does that make me feel? How does it make me feel when I consume that content from that source, that input?" And the same way you would assess those people, you need to start assessing this energy is just not it's not doing it for me. Every time I log in, I'm in a good mood and I watch this thing and it brings me down and kind of puts a damper on the rest of my day. And for me, I would say that right now that would be Twitter, X, right? I think Twitter is it's a very important platform for news. I think if you want to get the latest thing, you don't have to watch mainstream news, NBC, Fox, all that. Those are all garbage. They're all going to give you bias. But I think if you want to see things that are happening in real time around the world, Twitter is one of the best platforms for that because people see the news and people in public are the news now because we all have cameras and phones and we can report things a lot faster than mainstream news. But again, the posts that seem to get in the algorithm, the posts that kind of surface or get the most activity are the ones that usually cause some kind of a fear or some kind of a panic or some kind of a negative thing, or it's who got killed, what murders, and all these things. And so you can find yourself out of curiosity kind of going down that rabbit hole and the daisy chain of these things. And at the end of that session of looking at these kind of pieces of content, ask yourself in that moment, what do I feel? Do I feel better now after I've consumed that? And the answer is probably going to be no. That's the way it is for me. So if I know that I'm in a very productive mood and I want to go do things and I've got to minimize my distractions, I'm not going to go spend any time on Twitter. I'm not going to do it. I might scroll through when I'm bored just to see what's going on because I do like to see what's on current events. But I'm really not gonna spend more than 5 minutes on that platform because I can scroll a few times, see what's going on, and go, "Psh, good enough." Because it is an energy vampire, it will suck you down, and, you think that you're being vocal and arguing and debating and things, and this is super important, but guys, it's content that'll drag you down, and you may love it, it may charge you up, but hey, more power to you if that's the kind of content that you love. This show is for everybody. I gotta be even for everybody, right? And so, the next tip I would say is that this is a post that I made, I think it was a week ago on social media and actually kind of blew up and had like 400 engagements and a bunch of people were sharing it and it kind of went multi-platform. And the the post that I put out there was just a text comment on Facebook initially. And the post was stop supporting those who wouldn't acknowledge or interact with you. I'm going to read that again so you understand that one. Stop supporting those who would not acknowledge or interact with you. Now, when you hear that, some of you may be argumentative and you go, well, celebrities don't interact with me and superstars are busy and they don't have time to interact with me. And that's fine, right? Because celebrities usually have people that manage their accounts and they don't really even look at those things. They kind of have a team that just posts their content for them and then they're gone, right? But here's what I've observed, especially being in this personal development space, the business space, the entrepreneurship space. There's a lot of people out there with really big egos who act like they're far more important or far more accomplished than they truly are. And they will purposely blow you off because they feel that you're not worthy of their attention. There's a lot of people out there that will pretend that they're gatekeepers to stages or events or shows. And, they want to hold you down because you didn't spend $200,000 to hire them to get on their stage. Right? I've experienced this on a personal level, right? That's why you hear it in my voice. And so I see a lot of you good people that are following me, the people who interact with me, you guys are great people because I know that you put your heart first. You are heart-centered people. That's the message I kind of put out there. So I would expect to attract those kind of people in the audience. But I see a lot of you wasting too much damn time interacting with these people that I know are assholes. They're not gonna respond back to you. They're never gonna compliment you. They're never even gonna like one of your posts. They're never gonna share anything. They're just gonna post and ghost is what we call that in the industry. They'll make the post and then they'll disappear. They'll post and ghost. And I see a lot of you trying to get in their good graces and making these long comments and yeah, you guys are super awesome. And these people don't even have the courtesy to come back and acknowledge that they saw your post by just throwing a heart by saying thank you. Even a thumbs up emoji is better than nothing. Acknowledgement, right? These people are not acknowledging you, and you're wasting your time supporting these people. Now, I don't care who these people think they are. I can give you dozens of examples of every single one of those types of people that have surpassed them in success and fame and all the other accolades that these people pretend that they're achieving. And these people are very successful and busy, but they still have time to acknowledge the other people. They still have time to interact with people, right? You can see the true heart of people by how they respond to their audience and how they interact. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about superstars here. I'm talking about people that are accessible, right? So I think for 2025, I'd love to see you guys just quit wasting your time on these people that won't even interact with you. They won't even acknowledge you with a like on your comment. Like that's a waste. Just start to identify those people. It's pretty evident when you scroll through. Don't waste time on those people. Make them understand that they have to earn your attention and earn your interaction and quit thinking so high of themselves because nobody's truly that busy. Nobody's truly that successful and they have no time to respond. And, I'm only here for myself. Like that's the people you're serving. Quit that. Stop it. Big deal. I want to talk about a thought that I've been pondering, lately, because I think a lot of times this is going to be very relatable, right? I'm going to call this the fallacy of appreciation. That's a weird word, right? The falseness of appreciation. Yes, I struggle with this. You struggle with this. You feel underappreciated. Every single human out there feels like they're contributing to either their work or their family or their friends. Sometimes you feel like you're contributing more than you're receiving and you're feeling underappreciated, especially at the end of the year, especially if you're working corporate and you didn't get that raise or a bonus at the end of the year. You're feeling very underappreciated right now. I felt that. I relate to that. I feel like that sometimes even now. But here's why it's the fallacy. We all feel that way. It's not you. And so the good news is that if you understand that we all feel that way, why are you letting it get you down? That's a normal feeling. It's no different than, sadness or joy and typical emotions like feeling underappreciated. Yeah, it sucks to think about that. I did all this work for that person. They didn't even say thank you. Open the door for this lady and she didn't even like smile or say thank you. Like we do a lot of good deeds and we do feel underappreciated. And I guarantee the people in your lives probably feel underappreciated in several instances of interactions with you. But what the problem is that people that feel this way is what allows them to kind of spiral into this negative mindset. They start going into this depressive cycle because they don't feel appreciated. And this is another reason why a lot of people quit their jobs because they feel underappreciated. Well, let me give you some logic here. The appreciation that your job owes you is the paycheck that you agreed on. It'd be nice to have the attaboys and the good jobs and the trophies and the awards and the participation trophies and all that and being recognized. Like we all want that. Why not? Even animals like get petting on the head and like, oh, you're such a good boy and belly rubs. Like animals interact that. We do want that. We always want that. But the realistic answer is that the appreciation that your company owes you is really just your salary, the paycheck or the hourly rate that you agreed on. You agreed to do a transactional relationship with somebody and you agreed to do some work and show up and deliver this and then they compensate you that. That's the appreciation. And I hate to sound so cold on that, but that's the truth. It's the truth. Especially if you're doing a good job, that's what you're being paid to do, right? Like, you're doing a good job. Like, you wanna hear that, but that that's why they paid you. Like, if you were doing a bad job, they would just fire you, right? And so, what I wanna do is have you think about this, like, unhinge or unhitch the whole "I need appreciation" versus the output and being positive, because that kinda goes back into the camp of motivation, right? Motivation's temporary, but discipline and consistency, these are things that people do when they don't even feel motivated, you know? I would say half the time I go to the gym, I don't feel motivated to go. I'm not like, "Oh, I'm super excited to go to the gym." Like, I know it's gonna be work, and I know it's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna get results, and it's gonna feel some pain, like and I still go, right? Those of you that are high performers, you may not be happy with the company that you're running right now or certain employees, but you know that you're gonna put your head down and get shit done. You gotta go get it done anyways, and so kudos to you because you have learned that I'm just going to execute and operate. no matter what. And I think that that's the thing that most people kind of hold on to this. I'm not being appreciated, and I'm just going to give up. I'm going to start, underperforming, and I'm going to keep underperforming and spiral negatively until I feel appreciated again. Like, you get over that. It's a fallacy. We all feel underappreciated. We all feel lack of appreciation, but we still have to perform. We still have to step up. And if you really want to change things, be the one that appreciates other people more. Many of you have interacted with me in social media and DMs, and you'll see that I respond a lot of times. I says, "I appreciate you," and that's intentional. You may not be hearing that from anybody else, but I do appreciate you. If you're spending even a minute watching this or listening to this, I appreciate you. So here am I giving you permission to get off of that depressive cycle and worrying about I'm feeling underappreciated. I appreciate you. Understand that we all feel that. Move on. That's why I'll spend a little more time on that topic because I think that's what's holding a lot of people back right now. Next topic on there. Decide on who you want to become. Oh, this is a good one. How do you craft your identity? Well, think about this. I like to think about future forward. I always try to think about moving and making moves and decisions that lead to a kind of a future version of myself. Now, many of you that kind of came into my audience in more recent years, you didn't really know me. And, before the podcast, you didn't know me before, maybe you saw me on a stage or, saw my post, being snarky on social media or whatever. Like, you didn't know me. You never saw evidence of who I was before. And I'll give you a tip. I was the same person internally. I had the same experience, same intellect, same quirkiness, same kind of interests, but I didn't communicate the same way because I had to invest in these skills to be able to get on camera and understand how to communicate without saying and feeling like really like low energy and just boring and all these things. So I had to become something that I knew that I could be, but it was going to be hard work, and I knew that was going to be hard work. And I've done thousands of videos by now in the last 7, 8 years now, thousands of videos. And each time you're trying to get a little bit better. You're just learning a little bit more, getting a little bit more comfortable doing these things. But you need to start thinking about who do you need to become, right? And let me reframe that one for a second. Let me spend some time on that one. A lot of you want to build something. Maybe you want to build an audience. Maybe you want to build a large community, right? And there's a few really simple questions that you should be asking yourself if that's your goal. The first one is, who are you? And understand that that's a powerful question. It's a simple question, but it's powerful because who are you? And every single one of you is unique. Every single one of you has God given talents or abilities or knowledge or things that you are going to use to positively impact this world. Every one of you has that. But the problem that you see is you start to try to emulate and copy a lot of other things that are going on out there that aren't you. I mean, I've seen so many people that would watch like Alex Hormozy and decide that, hey, I'm going to start wearing wife beater t-shirts and no strips too. And like, it's like, that's Alex. That's not you. Like, those of you who follow me, I do what I do. I like classic cars, and I like American cars, and I like to go do powerlifting, and I like skateboarding, and I like traveling the world. Like, those are unique to me. Those are the things I enjoy, the things that bring me a lot of enjoyment, fun, and energy and passion. And every one of you has your own list of those things. Every one of you has your own communication style. Maybe it's not fine tuned yet. Maybe it's not the best that it could be, but you need to start visualizing who do you need to become to get the goals to achieve what you want to achieve in life. It's going to take some change. Whatever result that you're getting right now, if you're not where you're at, if you're not where you want to be, you have to make changes. You have to make changes. Just remaining where you're at is going to keep you getting the same results over and over and over. And so think about that. Who are you? And once you understand who are you, now you got to think about, what can I do? What do I want to achieve? Like, what do I want to do in this world? Like, what do I want to sell? What do I want to be known for? Right. And we all have different answers for that as well. And so when you determine, like, okay, now I know who I am, now I know what I want to do and I want to be known for. The third question, which is maybe the one that's going to sting a little, is why should they listen to you? Why should they listen to you? Why would anyone listen to you when you say that you want to do this thing in the middle here? And that's the one that's going to always take more work. It's going to take some kind of results. It's going to take more time, more effort, more dedication. Anytime you're learning a new skill or new craft, you're going to have to put in a lot of hours. You're going to get punched in the face a lot. You're going to fail, and that's fine. I encourage you to fail. Go fail a bunch of times because that's how those are valuable lessons, right? Most of the lessons we learn, the failures are very valuable, probably more valuable. I think people that have never lost at anything really don't understand the value of winning. So, who do you want to become? Now, let's fast forward into this. If you can start to visualize the best version of yourself, I know that's as cliche as it sounds, but there's no other phrase that really describes that. If you can understand the best version of yourself, visualize them. How do they communicate? How do they carry themselves? What's their persona? Are they confident? Are they certain? Do they make eye contact instead of just looking around and, feeling, passive on things? Do they take actions? Do they have a certain level of physical fitness that you know that you could achieve? Like all these things are visual cues. How do they dress? Maybe you're just not happy with the way you're dressing right now, but you can make that a really easy change, right? Simple changes. And so when you start to visualize that, you start to go beyond that. Like, what is the lifestyle that you want to live? Like, what is the house that you want to live in? What's the cars that you want to drive? What's the vacations you want to be in? What are the people at the dinner table that you want to spend time with? When you can start to visualize those on a really strong level, now when you start to make decisions today, you need to ask yourself, what would that future version of me do? If they were faced with this decision, and I'm not talking about big life changing decisions, I'm talking about the smallest decisions. Hey, I'm hungry right now. And should I go through the drive through and order a triple cheeseburger and a large shake? Or would the future version of me be like, hey, uh, Tony, like, no, like this is future Tony talking, and he's calling you a punk. Like, don't do that. Like, that's not going to get you where you want to be on health wise. You're not going to look the same. You're not going to feel good after you eat this crap. It's going to temporarily, you're going to be happy about it, but you're going to regret doing this. And you keep doing this every day, and you'll never achieve the true version that you want to achieve. And so I kind of trick myself. I think about who my future version of myself is and what would decisions would they make today on the smallest things and even the largest decisions. And guess what? If you start thinking like the future version of yourself, you'll end up becoming that person. It's inevitable that you become that person because you're already thinking and operating and taking the actions like that person that you know would. If that was your role model, your mentor, your future version of yourself, start thinking and acting and taking actions just like them today. It's a problem solver. It's going to get the job done. So that's how you craft your identity. And so let's move into the next group of topics here, fitness and nutrition. I want to share a story on that. So I was an athlete in high school, played high school football and did powerlifting and things like that in college. Some martial arts mixed in there, and I was pretty active in my 20s. And you know, age 30, I got married and I was a father, and my career was more demanding, and I was working a lot of hours, and I was eating unhealthy because I had more money and I could just buy unhealthy food. And I found myself in my mid 30s, kind of like just out of shape and just weak. Mid 30s, like I'm 52 right now, and so just thinking about this sounds asinine. But I was 35 or so. Sold my first company when I was 34, and the friends that I had around me at the time were kind of the same way. They were kind of like the pudgy dude guys, like that didn't work out, just kind of like average guys with a belly and lazy, right? And everybody's complaining about their lower back or their shoulders or their knees or just things like in your 30s. Guys, it's just this guys, this just sounds completely stupid to me now being in my 50s saying this, but that's how I really it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, right? I can still hear the excuses, right? And you know, much appreciation to my wife, Lisa. She has always been in shape. She's always going to the gym, and she would never like, shame me for getting fat. She would just go, "Hey, I'm going to the gym. You want to go?" And I'd always say, "Oh, no, I don't feel like it, or I'm tired." I always had some kind of excuse. And one of the main things that I look back now and I think about that, a lot of times I said no because I knew that if I would have gone to the gym with her that day, that I would have had to face reality that I was just weak. I was much weaker than I'd ever been, and I probably couldn't even finish a complete workout without getting overly winded and like be sore for the next week after that. So I was basing myself on like again the past version of myself. Like what I tell you about today. Forgive yourself. Your past does not determine your future. You need to think about this in terms of your fitness, your nutrition as well. And so I was kind of embarrassed. I wasn't kind of embarrassed. I was embarrassed. Let's be real here. I was embarrassed. And I knew that, I used to bench close to 300 pounds in college, and probably couldn't even bench my weight at that time. And it would have been kind of humiliating, and my ego would have suffered. And all that's probably true, especially for you men that, like have ego lifting and things like that. It probably does hurt your feelings when you go back to the gym after you've taken some time off. It hurts my feelings if I've taken time off, even a couple weeks to go on a trip or something, and I go back, I'm not where I was, and I have to catch back up, and that's fine. I expect that now. But I allowed those ego things and the things holding me back and comparing my former self and not wanting to face the reality to keep me from actually doing what was important, getting back in shape. What's important today is what matters, not what's important how you were in the past. Like, it's going forward. And so it wasn't until like age 39 I started realizing, man, I'm gonna be 40 years old. That's a pretty milestone year. Most people are like, oh, you're over the hill at 40, right? And so you go, oh man. In my mind, this entire time, in my mind, I felt like I was an athlete still. I felt that, I could probably still suit up and play football. I could probably still skateboard. In my mind, I could feel that. I didn't feel like I was in my 30s at that time. But every time I looked in the mirror, I didn't see what I was feeling. I just looked like an out of shape, 30, 35, mid 30 something year old guy with a belly, and hated tucking in my shirt because you could just see it like overhang and that kind of stuff. And, your clothes kept getting bigger, and you start buying those waistbands that stretch and stuff like that. Like some of you are probably like, shit, that's me right now. Right. You go look at Facebook memories and you see photos of yourself 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, and you're like, oh crap, I was a lot thinner back then. What happened? Because it creeps up on you over time and you don't realize this kind of stuff. And so at age 39, I said, "Hey, I'm not gonna be that way anymore." I was like, "I'm about to be 40. I need to get back on track, and I need to get my routines on, and I know it's gonna suck, and it's probably gonna take me a year just to kinda get back to where I can complete workouts and feel some strength." And, so I just started going back, and I started making a routine. I think I started maybe with 2 days a week versus 0, which is a lot more, then 3, then 4, then 5, and now I exercise at least 6 days a week, and I've been doing that for over a decade now. And you guys have seen the stuff. I'm physically stronger than I've ever been in my 50s, and I'm skateboarding and doing things in bowls and half pipes and, pushing myself. And I love to do that kind of stuff because I can. And one of the biggest stories I'll this is kind of a funny story, but it was also an aha moment when I was really out of shape in my 30s. I remember I was late for a meeting. This is when I had my engineering corporate job still. I was late for a meeting because I used to ride the bus to downtown. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of traffic and the bus was late. And so I got off a block early, and I had to kind of like walk real fast because I damn sure wasn't going to run. And I got to the lobby and I checked in, and I was like, okay, the meeting's on the second floor. And it's like, I'll just take the escalator. And they had like one of these long 2-floor escalators because I saw the line at the elevators. I was like, I'm not going to wait in line. I just got to go up the escalator. And so I'm walking up this escalator. It's moving, and I'm walking, trying to get the pace to go up a little bit more. And I got to the top of this escalator, and I was like huffing and puffing. Guys, I was winded walking up a moving escalator. And that was an eye-opening moment for me. And I had to like chill out and like wipe the sweat off of my face because I was wearing like dress clothes. And it's like, I'm not gonna walk in this meeting all sweaty. And it's like I had to like just kind of recompose myself and then go back into this meeting. And so Some of you guys are walking up a little short flight of stairs and you're like, like, take that as an indicator you need to make some changes. Your fitness, your health, your nutrition are the most important thing that you have. Like the body that you have to cherish it. You have to take care of it because it's the only one that you have. And I want you to live longer, and your friends and your family want you to live longer. And if you got pets, your pets want you to live longer. But you have to be the one that makes the decision to take that action. And here we are at the beginning of the year. Go join that gym. There's a lot of specials going on at gyms. They want you to sign up. They're looking for the New Year's resolutionists. Take advantage of that. And if you don't think that you can be accountable and you want that routine, spend some money if you've got it, right? Go hire a trainer. They're not that expensive. A trainer will keep you on track. They'll come up with a nutrition program, a workout program. You'll schedule time with them. And I'll say if you're just getting started, go 2 days a week, just like I did. And then when you're comfortable with the recovery time in between those 2 days, make it 3 days a week and just kind of keep expanding until you get that capacity. And I'll tell you, it comes back a lot faster than you think. If you could do that for 6 months, it will change your life. And what we talked about earlier is building your identity, right? So here's where the switch occurs. If you're just someone who doesn't exercise right now, it's not part of your identity. If you start to go 2 days a week, you're still not that person that's built the identity around working out because maybe you're not still happy with what you see in the mirror. You haven't seen any results yet. And so you're not adopting that as your identity yet, but you're taking the actions that are necessary to get the result that you would like to become the better version of yourself. And soon enough, when it becomes your routine and you start to feel that craving, which you will, your body will crave that exercise. It's like, hey, let's get out there and go do this thing. Like it's kind of like when you let your dog run out and they run out in the yard and they're all running around, like they're craving that, right? They're excited about it. You will too, as soon as you start to get some results and you start to get more confidence, with which will happen. And soon enough, you become the identity shift. And the identity shift is when you are no longer a person that works out. You are someone who exercises. You are someone that is into fitness, right? And that's the important part that we need to get to in any aspect of our lives that's going to bring quality or success. You need to start identifying as someone who does this. I identify as someone who goes to the gym. I identify as someone who is an entrepreneurship. I identify as a speaker, as a podcast host, as a video content creator. These are identities that I never had until I started to do these things, and they became part of who I am. And that's the level that you have to start thinking about. It may not feel right. It may be foreign right now, but eventually becomes your identity. And that's where we're trying to get to. So hire that trainer to keep you accountable. And if you can't afford a trainer, get an accountability partner. Find a friend that is also struggling. You guys be real with each other right now. If you got out of shape friends, go, hey man, I notice you're out of shape. I am too. I want to make some changes this year. How about we both go join the gym together and we hold each other accountable? And I need you to promise me that whenever I start making excuses about not going, you need to be very clear with me, like, quit being a weak ass. Like, let's go. Like, I'll see you there at 6 o'clock. Let's go. Right. Hold each other accountable. Don't give each other, excuse making opportunities. And one other tip here that for you guys that are on social media on the gym things, post the damn selfie. Post it. You're at the gym and you're working your ass off and you're feeling good about yourself. You're looking in that mirror because I know that we all do. Post the selfie, damn it. Quit worrying about what other people think about you. It goes back to the lifestyle, the mindset things, because yeah, there's a lot of people. I won't say a lot of people. There's quite a few people out there that will talk shit to you and talk shit about other people that post the gym selfies. Oh, there's these people posting their gym selfies. Guys, I get those comments too. But you know why I post those gym updates? Is to remind you that I still go and I don't care what you think. And I'm hoping that I'm motivating other people, which I am, to see that, damn, Tony's consistent. He keeps going. And he's posting that picture. And, I've had a lot of people that were resentful about those pictures that eventually shifted because it was it's like slowly reminding them of what they're not doing and what they should be doing. Your health and your fitness should be top priorities. And within a year or so, they're like, "Man, I'm glad you're posting those photos because it encouraged me to it showed me that I can go do it myself." And then they built that into their identity, and that's the part I love. I love the transformation. I love to see the people doing that. So, you may not be happy with where you're at right now, but if you're making progress, post the damn selfie because you never know who you're motivating. You never know how many people that are in your friends or your family are watching your content feeling the exact same way as you, and they're gonna feel so much more empowered when they see you doing what they need to be doing, and then you're showing consistency and you're inviting people, "Hey, if you wanna come, I'm gonna be at the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's go. Like, here's where I'm at." Get those people to go. Don't worry about all the naysayers saying like, "Oh, you're just showing off and you're just, like screw those people." You don't want those people at your dinner table. And as we talked about negative energy people, if people can't even throw a like at your photo of you doing something positive for yourself, you don't want those people around you. And those of you that are on my social media page and you guys do post your gym selfies and I happen to see them, I will like every single one of those. If you need evidence and I've seen your post, like I will say, "Hey, you are doing something positive for yourself. I'm going to acknowledge that you did that. Keep going. Post a damn selfie. Just do it." Let's shift into money and business. I know a lot of you guys love to have this topic here. For 2025, I want you to really focus on this. If you're not happy with where you're at financially or in your business, then you need to spend more time and money, if required, to learn a new skill that creates more free time or more money. And I'm talking about skills like some of the examples that would be learning some of these new apps. There's always new apps that are coming out that can help your productivity, make your work more accurate, make more time efficient. Spend some time to learn the skill to how to use that app and utilize it, implement it, put it in your company or your life. AI, guys, if you're not using AI, it's so incredible. And it's not, it sounds like, oh, this is super high tech AI, artificial intelligence, and it sounds intimidating, but you know what? It's actually very simple. It's one of the easiest things to learn. It's like interacting with another human that just happens to be a whole lot smarter than all humans because it kind of knows the internet and every book that exists. And you can train it to do things for you, and it has logic. And so, how do you interact with something like Claude or Chat GPT? Well, you can go get a free account. They have free accounts to play with it. The paid accounts aren't even that expensive. Like Chat GPT, like the higher versions, like $20 a month. Like that's nothing. And so, think about how we use Google. We search things, a search engine. AI can also be used like that, but it's an asking engine. I'm asking it questions. I'm treating it like a human, but it's a robot, and I'm just typing in questions and it giving me responses. And I say you can ask for refinement and do these things. And God, it's so powerful. It's doing legal documents and forms and all kinds of stuff. It can do calculations. It can create graphics and drawings, and just by asking it, doing questions. So don't get all worried about sounding like, oh, it's going to be a huge learning curve. Like, not really. Like, you can go learn everything on YouTube actually to teach you these kind of things. You can just play with it, learn it on your own, and it'll blow you away. If you're not using AI at all for your business or even some of the things in your life, like you're missing the boat. It's not going away. It's going to only become more prevalent. So get ahead of that. It's actually kind of fun to play with. Other skills, learning how to sell, learning how to close, marketing, digital marketing, public speaking. It's a skill. It's not a talent. It's a skill. It's something you had to go learn from people and do the reps. If that's going to make your life easier, if that's going to give you more deals, if that's going to get you more attention, it's going to drive more income, which creates more freedom, then it's on you to go learn that skill. And there's plenty of people or organizations that are really inexpensive, like Toastmasters. You've heard me talk about that. Go invest in those things to learn that skill because it could make you more money, which may give you more time freedom, right? Kind of works out that way. Copywriting is another important one, especially if you're using internet and you're writing posts or you're writing marketing copies, you're creating funnels and things like that. Learning how to do the copywriting. It's really just psychology applied to sentences. If you think of it that way, how do I write things with an emotional nature, and how do I get people to take action? And sometimes taking action is pushing that buy button, that purchase button, the skill that you learn. Invest in that. Hire people, buy the books, do the work, right? Also, with the business and money topic, I want you to invest time and money into quality relationships. We hear this all the time, like your network is your net worth. I don't disagree with that, but I don't fully agree with that either. I think, yeah, there's certain people that only are in your network for the money or the accolades or the agenda. Like, we don't want those people around us anyways. But there's good people out there that are doing some things that have contacts that, will cross promote each other. Invest that time and money to those people that are into quality relationships, the people that bring you energy, the people that actually have integrity. You see me talk a lot of trash, and I have a lot of fun posts about people that low integrity in the space, the digital marketing space, the entrepreneurship space, the speaker space. I know a lot of the big names that you guys all watch and consume, and not all of them are good people. Not all of them are good people. They have low intentions. They're more happy about how much money they made from you versus trying to actually help you. Celebrating like how many sales they closed on you versus actually impacting or help transform you. I've seen these people. I've had these conversations in the back room or behind the stage, and it's eye opening. So some of these people that you're idolizing, they're just fake. They're frauds. They're portraying something that they're truly not. There's background apps that you can go check people's backgrounds and see their criminal records and their histories and all these things, and you can see their address, you can see where they live, which cars they drive, and yet they're acting like they're multi-millionaires and they're super rich and they got all this stuff. But guys, there's software out there that's membership based that you can go apply and look and do your due diligence and find out what are these people actually done. Who have they achieved anything? What are they? What's going on in the background? I think if you're going to go spend tens of thousands of dollars with somebody, you should look into those kind of things. You'd be surprised. Some of the big names out there, you'd probably be surprised, like, oh shit, like why am I doing that? But that's the kind of level of thought you should have. You should be a skeptic until proven otherwise, right? Take care of yourself. It's your business, it's your money. What are you investing it in? Join those masterminds that are led by people that are accessible, that have proven results, that have done things that you would like to achieve, and you've seen their clients have excellent results as well. Like, ask the questions. It's not always about the current clients. How about their past clients? Are they happy too? Reach out. If you've seen people working with them, hey, did you work with so and so? What was your result? You'll find that the past clients are very honest a lot. Most of the time, they're very honest, good and bad. Ask those questions. On the topic of business and money, let's talk about your personal brand a little bit, your video content creation. I know that most of you guys are consuming these podcasts and these YouTube videos. You keep up with this, but here's a good thing about you, okay? In the past couple of years, let's talk about video content, right? In the past couple of years, you've been really distracted by almost like this ADHD style formatting where like things are binging and popping and the films like burns in and the transitions and the zoom in, the zoom out, and like all these things like all this shit is moving around on your screen. That's by design because it's kind of it's keeping your attention. And I can't tell you how many times I watched a video like that and it was so distracting. I don't even remember what the person was saying. Like I got to the end of the video and I was like, that was, like, very, distracting, it kept my attention, but I don't even remember what he's talked about. Maybe I need to watch this again or, like, what was all that about? That was kinda weird. Well, the good news is that that type of editing is it's so worn out because everybody kinda got on the same bandwagon and started copying each other and, like, doing the same crap, and, we call it, like, the Hormozy editing style sometimes with the font that's popping around and, stupid emojis popping out of the screen, like, it's built for distraction, but you're starting to see this trend and really the last 5, 6 months that people are moving away from that. People are tired of that distracting stuff. And so what are they looking for in replacement of that? They're looking for quality messages. They're looking for stories. They're looking for you to be authentic, be real. They're not worried about the glitz and the glam and the fancy editing and the transitions and all this crap, which costs a lot of money to edit that way. Because everybody started to look like that, so we go back to shifting towards authenticity and being real, and that's a good thing because those of you that listen to my show and, you know, consume my content, I've always had that message like, hey, just be who you are. Be who you are. Quit trying to fake it till you make it. You don't have to be super rich to get attention. You don't have to do all these different things. Like, just be who you are, but always strive to become a better version of yourself. But here's the thing that most people fail. Like, if you catch this will be a good way to understand my content. I'm very good at understanding that, hey, I'm going to go call my shot. I'm going to start powerlifting at 40 and I'm going to achieve these numbers. And even in my late 40s, I was like, I'm gonna deadlift 500 pounds by the time I'm 50. That was a goal. I was putting it out there like years, like 3 years before I hit it. And so I was 47 and I was putting that out there and people are like, oh, this guy's never gonna deadlift 500 pounds. You know how heavy that is? Like, that's a lot. He only weighs like 190 pounds. Like, no way. And I hit it. Now I can deadlift about 515. And how did I do that? I documented my journey. You see, when you want to inspire people, you don't have to have the end result. In fact, you probably shouldn't have the end result, but you should have a journey that you're going to go on, whether that's building a business, building a personal brand, achieving some kind of fitness challenge, or I've got clients that are doing jujitsu and I've talked them into competing and they've won medals now. It's amazing. Shout out to Chad, like proud of you, brother. The the journey, the documentation of your journey is very powerful. And if you go look at all of my content, becoming a public speaker, like I was not a public speaker. I did not like being on videos. I did not like being on cameras, but I documented that entire journey of me learning to become a speaker and going to Toastmasters and competing in Toastmasters competitions and starting to win those things. And then the stages kept getting bigger and I documented that whole journey. And I didn't know if I would achieve, being what I thought would be great or average or mediocre, but I was going to take you on that journey and I was going to show you that it sucked and that it was hard and that what people are looking for is that transformation. And if you want to inspire people, if you want to grow an audience, they want to go on that journey too. Because if they were there at the beginning of your journey and they saw how you were an amateur and you sucked at something, but you're willing to still go do it, they're encouraged by that. They're like, "Hey, golf clap, awesome, cool." But a few months into it, they start to see the transformation. They start to see you improve. You're starting to inspire them. They're like, "Oh, wow. If if he or she can do that, then maybe I can do that." And that's what you want, the people to feel inspired by watching your actions and you posting your results. And because humans love transformation stories, don't we? We love the hero stories. We love the heroic epic stories. We love to see the people that were 300 pounds that got down to their normal weight, and we love to see people that couldn't run that were finishing marathons all of a sudden, right? We love that story. It's inspirational. That could be you. That should be you. So a lot of my content is about, hey, I'm going to go do this new thing. Like comedy school was another one. Improv comedy school. God, that was scary. That was far more scary than public speaking. And I took everybody on that journey. It's like, hey, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to commit to finishing it. It was a year long. It was like 4 different courses for a year. And I graduated improv comedy school. And I took people on a journey and ended up me performing some improv skits at comedy clubs. And so taking people on that journey inspires them. So you don't have to have all the results right now, but you do have to have the action. You do have to put yourself out there. You do have to be really uncomfortable and be willing to suck at something and have humility, but then just document that journey. And then that's going to take people along that journey and you're going to keep doing this. Skateboarding was another idea. So you're seeing these examples now, right? It's like, hey, I'm 50 and I decided, I used to love skateboarding when I was in 8th grade and I haven't skated since then. I'm going to go try to figure out how to relearn this. And in the first few videos, I would even title them like day 1 of skateboarding, day 2 of skateboarding, day 3, and so on. And eventually I started to improve. And now I can't even believe it's only been like a year and a half. And I'm so much better than I was. And I probably even skate better than when I was a kid. Right. And it's all the fears, all the things I share that I show myself falling down a lot of times because that's what happens a lot until you start to get better. So you're taking people on a journey, you start to inspire them, and that's important. So when you think about this, your content quality is more important than quantity. Quit just trying to do all the PTSD, like ADHD, like flashing and distractions. Just focus on being who you are. Share some value, teach some people, inspire some people, educate some people, and speak from your heart and quit trying to be bigger than you are than you at the time. Like Imagine if I would have said, "Hey guys, I'm 50 years old and I decided I'm going to go back and be a skateboard," and I started acting like I was Tony Hawk, and then I started to pretend I knew everything about it, and like that'd have been stupid, right? I think one of the biggest problems is people are trying to overshoot who they truly are. They're not taking people on that journey. They're trying to skip the journey, and they're wondering why they don't grow an audience. I mean, we've got people out there that call themselves personal brand experts. They're trying to teach you personal branding and they got like no followers, they got no audience. Google doesn't even find them when you go look for them. Like, how do you say you got a personal brand at Google? You don't even rank your own name on Google, right? It's too much inauthenticity that's not based on action and taking people on a journey. Now, if you said, "Hey, I would like to become someone who teaches people by example on how to build a personal brand," and if you're honest about it, you say, "Look, I don't even have one right now, but you know what? My goal in 3 years is that I will rank on Google and I'll have 100 different interviews and I'll be speaking on all these different stages. And I'm going to take you on that journey. I'm going to show you how I do this step by step." If you were to do it that way, I guarantee you, you would have an audience, you would have clients, you would have respect because if you got that result just like you said you were and you showed the entire steps, the entire journey, that's the gold. Quit trying to skip things. Quit trying to pretend you're something you're not. Take people on journeys. That's the content, right? So, also to cap the content here for the business, I need you guys to start taking bigger risks. A lot of you just playing too small. A lot of you that have your bills paid are playing extremely small, right? I know the people that have six-figure corporate incomes that have all their bills paid by far, and they're still too chicken shit to go start a company. Like they're not willing to go spend $3,000 to get a company going that could really double their income because they're so worried about that. And they got their bills paid. It's like they're playing on house money right now, right? So take bigger risks. There's no rewards for playing small. And if your bills are paid, you should be taking bigger risks. Like I see people that are like, "Hey Tony, I read your book, Side Hustle Millionaire, and I'd like to start a side hustle." And I said, "Oh, cool, man. What do you do for a living?" And like, "Oh, I'm an engineer just like you." And it's like, "Oh, cool." And I know that they're probably making 120 to $200,000 a year, right? And they're wanting to start a business, and that's awesome. Like that's great. Like let's do that. And they're like, "Oh, but I don't want to spend 10,000 on a coach." It's like you don't want to spend like first your terminology is off. Like you should be thinking about it's an investment. Like if you could learn how to make $100,000, wouldn't I invest $10,000 to go learn how to make $100,000? I would. I've done that many times. If I wanted to learn how to make $1,000,000, would I not invest $100,000 to go make $1,000,000? I would. I would. I've done it. So you need to start thinking about what is the end result that I can achieve? How does that compound over time? If I learn this skill, I learn how to create this business and it makes me hundreds of thousands of dollars over several years. Like, what does it cost to learn that skill and, get pushed in the right direction and avoid a lot of the mistakes that people that don't understand make? And so start thinking about those kind of things and understand like, hey, my bills are paid. I need to go take bigger risk. I need to quit playing small. I need to think about the future and, just quit being cheap. Just quit being cheap. That's an easy answer. Just it's an investment, just like your college degree maybe was, or certifications or things that you've already invested time in. Like make those investments, take bigger risks. You'll get those bigger rewards. Now, let's cap this up with the goal setting. It's a new year. It's a new week. We seen the hit or miss. We've seen the commentary on both sides of the spectrum, right? On social media. We got people that saying like, "Oh man, New Year's resolutions are bullshit, and you're wasting your time." Like you got these people that act like they're a miniature David Goggins, like they're two hard asses, and New Year's resolutions are for weak people, and why can't you just be awesome every day of the year, 365, super awesome? Like guys, quit taking advice from people that are that level of pessimistic. Like we talked about energy people, that doesn't bring me energy. It just makes you look like a dick. Like if you're just negative about people that want to make changes because it's a new year, you're just being a dick. Maybe you're having a well, I'll cut you some slack. Maybe you're not a dick. Maybe you're just unhappy right now. And that's just your way of venting. Like maybe your life's not together and things didn't work out. So you're kind of like wanting to shit on all the other people just so they can kind of bring them down to your level. Like I get it. I felt like that before in my past, right? I have some empathy for you. So stop doing that shit. Like I think about this. I had this conversation with a couple clients first meetings of the year. Here's my take on New Year's resolutions. I'll give you the emotional side and I'll give you the logical side to back it up. The emotional side about New Year's resolutions is that I don't want to extinguish any spark that could potentially ignite your fire. And if you believe that a new day on the calendar for a new year is the thing that's the spark, the catalyst that could create positive change in your life, then I'm going to do my best to fan that flame to try to make it a bigger flame instead of just a spark. The people that are shitting on New Year's resolutions are the ones that are trying to put out your spark. They're trying to remove reasons for you to make change. And so, who are they to do that? Don't let them do that. Don't let people that might be your friends or your family or people that you're following on social media saying that kind of stuff. Like, push those people. They're noise. They're not contributing to the end result that you really want. So, if you believe that a new year is a new you, and you truly believe that, then own that shit. Be vocal about it too. If people want to talk shit about it, like, hey, you know what? I disagree. You're just being a dick. I believe it. And don't be afraid to say what you believe. Empower yourself, right? Because I like the sparks and whatever spark is required. Maybe it's you watch this episode or you listen to this episode, and maybe you got that one spark that you're going to make some actual change this year that will positively affect your life and the people around you. Like, I would be honored to hear that. Hey, you gave me the spark, and I'm going to go make some actions. I would really love that. So that's the emotional side. I'm not going to take someone's spark from them. The logical side. Let's talk about how do we apply that. We make daily goals, don't we? We make weekly goals, even if it's corporate or personal. We make goals and daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals. So why the hell not having a yearly goal? Like, why not? So many things hinge on December 31st. You get taxes and all these different things. The end of the year, countries around the world celebrate it as an end of the year thing. And if it's a milestone date, it's always going to be around. There's always going to be a New Year's Day. And so why not have yearly goals if we're having these other time factored goals? So that's the logic. Like, why would we remove a yearly goal? If I can't look ahead and think about this and also take time to reflect, I mean, every goal, like a weekly goal, a monthly goal, quarterly goals, these are all times that we reserve to reflect what has occurred, right? We go, hey, how did we do this week? Did you get all your tasks? Did you hit all your macros? Did you get all your workouts in? Did you make all your calls? We always have that time to reflect and assess how we did and then make little course corrections to see how we can improve, don't we? So why wouldn't you do that in a year? Why wouldn't you? In the past year, I said I was going to do this. I had these goals, and here's how I stacked up, good and bad. What dials do I need to change and levers do I need to switch to push people to go forward? You don't. It's logical. You should have annual goals. Corporations report their quarterlies and their annual findings, don't they? They have goals too, and annually, and so it's don't make any excuses. Don't listen to those people that are being naysayers and acting like they're awesome because guarantee the people that are maybe exemplifying like they're always in shape and they're crushing it like they say they are, but most of them aren't. There was a time in their life that they didn't value the New Year's either. Maybe they used that as their spark at that point, and maybe they want to act or create some perception that they're super badass and that they don't have to do that anymore because they do that every day. That kind of shit. Screw those people, man. I want you to change starting today. And if that's the spark, the New Year's week, the calendar, just do it. Like whatever spark you need, just do it, right? And keep this in mind that if the New Year's is your spark and you're using this new year to reset things and push yourself forward, don't become that pessimist at the end of the year that shits on other people who are trying to do the same thing next year. Encourage those people. Be the one that helps light their spark. That's how this world's going to become a better place. So that's how I feel about New Year's resolutions. I think you hear that. So how do we assess the past year when we look back at 24? I think that the one question that we should all ask ask ourselves is, am I happy and fulfilled? We can, get buried in data and all these different things, but are you happy and fulfilled? Did you accomplish things that you're happy and fulfilled? You mean I didn't accomplish all my goals. Most people don't accomplish all their goals, especially when we set really high goals. But am I happy at the end of the year and am I fulfilled? And just be honest with yourself and think, okay, what needs to change in order for this to be next year? I can answer that question on a more positive side. And chances are you likely already know the things that have been holding you back or the things that are making you unhappy or unfulfilled. So take a really honest effort with yourself and start to think about what are the things I need to change and do those things. Start taking those actions. So one of the other tips, I see a lot of people out there that aren't getting the results, and it's unfortunate because it drives me nuts because I know they have potential to do that, but use a calendar. You need to learn how to schedule everything, right? Every single day is a scheduled day for me. I just use my Google Calendar, whatever's on your phone, Apple Calendar, Google Calendar, like just whatever you have that's easily accessible. Start using that and scheduling your tasks, your fitness, your social time, anything that you find that's important. You need to put that on your calendar. You need to get in the habit of using your calendar and planning out months in advance, even a year in advance on some things. That's really gonna start to change your mindset. You start to protect your time. Like, a good example, people are like, "Hey, how do you write a book? I don't know how to write a book. I don't have the time to do that." Like, you guard your time. You put that on the calendar. If I'm gonna commit to writing 1 hour every other day, put that on your calendar, guard your time. And so when you start to have these time blocks and people are trying to interrupt you or trying to distract you, you can compare it with the time block that you've already associated with that task and go, "Hey, this task that I put on here is more important than I'm gonna have to decline that opportunity for that it's a distraction. Sorry, I've got things I already planned." You can always use that as an excuse. And that's how you get things done, just little at a time, little at a time. It's important. I mean, a lot of people come to me and they're like stressed out and they don't know where to start. And I was like, well, show me your calendar. I'll get people to share it on the screen. I was like, hey, show me your calendar. And they're like, oh, I don't have one. That's the number one thing that will change your life, getting more organized with your time and your daily objectives and your tasks. So use that calendar and schedule everything. And here's the other thing I'll add to that, especially those of you that are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, learn how to align your daily tasks with your energy levels. Okay. Quit taking all personal development advice that you see out there as gospel and that you have to do it because so and so said it or it was on in some YouTube or some book, right? Align your daily tasks with your personal energy levels. It's different for everybody. Okay. I'm a morning person. And when I wake up, usually between 4:30, 5 a.m., I'm kind of like mentally ready to go. I'm not even the type of person that needs coffee to get all fired up. Like I'm like my mind is on fire and I want to be creative and I can do really complex things and analytical and data and I can be creative and write like anything that's creative or requires brain power. I'm best at the morning and that usually lasts from about 5 a.m. to about noon. So I know I got that 7 hour window where I can be very creative and do things that require business focus. So how stupid would that be for me to go to the gym when I knew that that's my creative zone? Like, how stupid would that be for me to go, "Yay, it's 5 o'clock and my mind is ready to go and I'm ready to be productive and get some things done. Oh, let me meditate. Let me just chill out for an hour and do this." Like, no, that's stupid. That's counter to my energy levels at that given time of the day, right? And some people it's night. Maybe your night owls, like, after 8 p.m., like, your mind is like that, and it's like, you need to be the one that's creating, and that's fine, like, if you have the availability to work that schedule, and that's awesome, like, there's no right or wrong answer here, right? But you need to understand that I get physical usually in the afternoon, so, like, if I wanna go to the gym, it's usually around 2 o'clock. My mind is kind of, like, burned out by then, I've had my meetings, I've done all the analytical stuff, I've done my creative work, my content creation, I've kind of got focused on numbers or financials. And then around 2 o'clock, I was like, oh man, I kind of feel it. I kind of feel drained mentally. So that's when I go get physical. You see how this works? I align my actions with my energy levels on the mental capacity or physical capacity. So I prefer early afternoon workouts. And you might be the opposite way, but understand, start to listen to who your body is and go, hey, I feel like my mind is on fire at this time of day. Start guarding that time frame for your creative work if you can. And if you can't because you're at your job or the other things, like that's another whole reason that maybe you should be building something that allows you to have the time and financial freedom to go do the things that are according to your energy levels and puts you back in charge of those things, right? That's the benefits that we earn by taking those risks to get the result. So with that, I hope that this episode has reached a lot of you. And I think that if it's impacted you in any way, I would greatly appreciate if you just share it. Share it on your timeline, share it with your friends and your family, send it in a DM to them. Hey, you need to, I know you don't know this bozo, but you need to, listen to this message. Like it's going to help you. Like some of the things applied to you. Like my show and the things and my message and my audience doesn't grow without you guys sharing this kind of things. I know that you'd love to just keep it all to yourself, but that's how I ask. That's how I just appreciate when you guys share these things. When you listen to these podcasts, like post them on your social media and say, hey, just listen to this episode. If you think it could help, like take a listen, right? That's how we grow these things. You don't see any ads and stuff like on my shows. And so with that, if you guys have any feedback for me, like you can reach me here on Facebook or Instagram or even LinkedIn. And sometimes I'll even look at that LinkedIn trash inbox. But if you have feedback for me, I'd love to hear from you. Got questions? I'd love to hear from you. If you think that 2025 is a year that you would like to work with me, there's opportunities for you to do that. Just reach out to me. We can talk and have that conversation. So with that, I want you guys to make real changes in 2025. I want you to commit to me that you're actually going to make some real changes. And it's not going to be Monday or I'm going to start next week. Start today. Whatever that action is that you can take today or the time that you're listening to this, start today. I want you to make some real changes.